It's been a pretty crazy week for Nifty Culture. We did a kind of a surprise early launch with our Sacrificial Forge, so hopefully people are playing with that. And we also snuck in our new character art along with that Sacrificial Forge feature. So big week for Nifty Cult. Also lots of other stuff going on in the Nifty world. Lots of interesting crypto news. There's a big event coming up, Nifty NYC, that's everybody's kind of buzzing about. And then, of course, the standard big chunk of drops that happens every week. So tons to talk about on this happy hour.
Cool. Thanks, Mike. Hey, Mal, real quick before we get into it, the GaryVee book stuff, what's happening there? We got to go back and fill out.
Oh, yeah.
Go back and fill out.
Let's start there. Yeah. So first off, GaryVee had a big day today. GaryVee actually sold like 1.6 or 1.26. It was between $1 and $2 million of like at the auction, which is incredibly crazy. I was trying to send out the link while you asked me the question, but yeah, GaryVee did 1.26 million at Christie's for his VeeFriends art, which is really cool. And, I'm super thankful to the GaryVee, Vayner NFT and all of them. They sent us the news as soon as it happened, and super impressed by the team, super excited for everything that's been going on over there. And, but yeah, so GaryVee actually, because there were a lot of cancellations for the books, and a bunch of people ordered the books and then canceled the books, that they actually have new criteria where you have to confirm it. And so what's interesting is the NFT is going to come in December or the end of November, and the books are going to come in mid to late November. So if you did order it, make sure you go fill out the form. It's in our Discord. I'll find the link as soon as I get this part done and share it in the stream.
Dude, that's crazy. So people actually canceled after they ordered the books, and they're still qualifying for the NFT?
No, they're trying to qualify. Yeah. It's like, people, like, this is the thing, like, and it sounds really bad, but like the ICO ecosystem is like falling into NFTs now. Like we've seen it now where there's a lot of the anonymous people, a lot of people exploiting it. And like the idea of a lot of the ICOs in the 2017, like a lot of those tokens started pure, and then nefarious people came into the space. And we're seeing that right now with NFTs. Like a couple months ago, it was incredibly positive. Everything was awesome. And now we're seeing a lot of negativity in the space. And so we're starting to see that culture start to permeate without. And so, of course, like I assumed it was going to happen, that it's like, all right, we need to affirm that we're here and trying to do this. And so I think they're doing the right thing. They did their best, and now they have to pay. And I don't think it's just that. I think like there were a lot of people coming in, and they had the form out. The form asks for more details now than it did before. So I think they're doing the right things.
Man, this is going to be interesting from like a legal implication. Like what was like, is he going to have to honor based on the terms, or how the verbiage was set up for people that actually, bought, even though they canceled? Was it stated anywhere that you did? I mean, I bought some, but I didn't read the terms that closely. I wasn't planning on canceling. I just going to send people books for Christmas. Everybody's getting GaryVee books. That's my thought. But like those people that were trying to game the system, I don't remember seeing anything about you can't cancel the order or any sort of cancellation policy. So I'm wondering how that's going to play out.
Well, Gary's smart. Like if you read the terms, and this is why my biggest regret in this whole NFT bull run was when we all talked ourselves out of buying that VeeFriends. I looked this morning because I was like, I'm just going to do it today, and it's 15. 15 ETH. Yeah, and we were sitting here watching GaryVee, and we're beforehand all fight. And I tell this story all the time, and I told this to Avery. Avery's going to be at NFT NYC. I can't wait to talk about NFT NYC. We're doing some big stuff there, but
stream.
Yeah, like on stream, we're watching it, and we're like, we all agreed, all of us, that we're going to buy it no matter what. And if it falls to 0.5, awesome. And like we were all ready to buy it at 1. And by the end of it, we all somehow talked ourselves
It
out
was
of.
the gas prices that killed it for me.
It doesn't matter.
I know.
Like, we were going to buy it at 1 ETH regardless
I know.
of gas. And by the end of it, we're like 0.5 with 0.1 gas. That's expensive. How dare we do that?
So
And
stupid.
now
I
here
remember
we
the
are.
conversation like it was yesterday. It was the fact that the sale had just started. It was going on for multiple days and it already floored. And so we're like, well, I guess maybe the new supplies coming in the next day that keep dropping. People are just going to start paper handing, but that did not happen.
You know, that was in that awkward phase where people were still doing the Dutch auctions on stuff, and Dutch auctions were kind of like becoming a little bit.
Mike, you've been heads down coding. Dutch auction is like happening more and more. Like there's been the Subducks second release did a Dutch auction, and then it fell.
Okay.
All the art block stuff is Dutch auction. Like you've been and Mike has been heads down coding one of the most complex contracts in our next drop and all those types of things. So. But yeah, Dutch auctions are back with a vengeance. Tom Bilyeu,
by the way, I love Dutch auctions.
Tom Bilyeu's drop that's coming on October 12th or 13th is going to be a Dutch auction starting at 3 ETH. Tom Bilyeu's coming on October 6th. We hope to see him in New York. Hope you can make it, Tom. But the Dutch auction is actually fair because it eliminates gas wars. And if you're big enough and the price is going to go there anyway, like it's not fair for the common person, but the common person isn't like, if you're inexperienced with ETH and like you don't know how to manipulate your MetaMask or mint on contract, you're not going to beat the people that are good at it anyway. So the price is already going to be insane. So I'm actually okay with the Dutch auction too, reluctantly. Like, I think that this is a flaw in Ethereum, and I'm a big fan of Ethereum. I'm not like a Bitcoin maxi. But I think like I love some of the other stuff that's happening now with the pre-mint passes, some of the scaling, some of the gamification. Like there's a lot of stuff that's happening now in the space that's really interesting, that's making it more equitable to gain access to these drops. The whitelist for being active in the Discords, for instance. But we're also seeing things where like the utility and gamification before you get the NFT is complex for complexity's sake. So I'm going off topic now, but I'm fine with the Dutch auction.
So I want to talk about Tom's drop at some point. Can we talk about that now?
O'Malley, you're muted.
Oh shoot, we lost him.
No, he's just muted.
The double mute. Yeah, I mean, we can go there. I was going to save it for a few minutes, but yeah, so Tom Bilyeu announced Impact Theory Discord a few days ago. We were all watching it live. Tom's been a friend of the show very early. Tom and I have talked. Pio and Tom have talked. And Tom, you know, what's interesting is Tom said for a long time that, you know, he wants to create the next Disney. And like some people, you know, didn't take him seriously. And he's built like a badass company and done a lot of great things. And now NFTs are presenting the opportunity for people like Micah Johnson, for all of the Bored Ape Yacht Club, for the Punks, for all of these other projects to actually create their own IP. And we're seeing like a lot of interesting, we're seeing a lot of things like happening simultaneously that are really, really unique in this space. And when you combine all of this opportunity, and you also think about DC Comics and Marvel and Disney being litigious with their IP, and everyone's complaining about like, oh, we got a burn notice. Okay, well, now we have Jose Delbo like creating his own IP. We have all these awesome artists starting to create their own IP, and we're seeing the opportunity for Decentraland and everything start to run rampant. I think that there will, and I've said this on stream lots of times, the next Disney will be an NFT. So why wouldn't it be Tom Bilyeu? Like, why wouldn't it be someone that's well-funded, that embraces the space, that gets the tech, that understands this? But like, there's also going to be the next Disney, the next Marvel, the next everything that's created out of this. And so this is a tremendous opportunity. And, you know, Tom is biding his time and playing it close to the vest. And, you know, his first drop is going to be a utility token to lift and educate and edify. But I think very quickly on the back end of that, he's going to start creating media that's valuable for everyone. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to learning more about it on October 6th. I'm looking forward to seeing him in New York.
Yeah, I think the way that that project has kind of been constructed is really like well thought out and well executed, and like they put a ton of work into it. Like Tom already kind of put out that screenshot of what all the various aspects of utility of the project was, that I thought was super cool. And I'm not sure if it's truly a perfect one-to-one of things they've already thought of and plan to include that they're keeping hidden for now, or if those were kind of more placeholders. But even just the parts that they've revealed of it shows a lot of like careful thought and consideration. So it seems, having done a project, I totally respect the amount of effort that went into putting that thing together. It's for sure, like, it really shows what you can do when you have a good team of people to help you build something like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the tough piece of it. It's the teamwork, it's the camaraderie. I've said this before as well, that, you know, historically I've you know, there are a couple projects that you look at and you're like, how could the dev be asleep when like the minting is happening? And like the 48 hours before going live, like a bug in Solidity and the way mainnet and, you know, everything works is that like you can do everything you want and you're going to be surprised. There's going to be things that you don't anticipate. And it's like, you know, the DDoSing that happens in high demand situations for sneaker drops. It's not exclusive to NFTs. There's just a lot of complexity for everything that has to happen. And so having a drop go successfully is incredibly difficult, no matter how talented you are, especially your first one. And, you know, Mike, you went through some sleepless nights ahead of our drop and the second, you know, forge and the first forge and second forge, which I'm incredibly proud of the work that you've been able to do. So it's just interesting to see that. So for Tom to have thought about that, that roadmap that well in advance, I think is really well done. And it's, you know, it's an evolution on what Gary's done. It's an evolution on some of the things. And it literally is you know, we're standing on the shoulders of giants, and the giants were the punks and then the apes. And then we're starting to see a lot of this additional utility, which is just really cool to see.
Mal, do we have any details yet on the token drop? Has that information gone public? You know,
yeah, it's in his Discord. Let me see if I can pull.
In terms of like, so we can share that, how many tokens are they going to have? And, you know, I'm assuming these are just regular old ERC20s. So there'll be some.
I don't have all of those details yet. I bet it's the late. And I've been Mike knows more about what is it?
121s.
Yeah.
Standard ones.
No, it's I think it's the 1559.
So
let me find it real quick.
Are they not?
Let me be Jamie for a minute. You guys are putting me on the spot.
Okay. All right. I didn't know how tight.
Say Mally, pull it up.
Yeah.
I think one thing that I was wondering is he had talked about having different tiers. And so I'm wondering if it's going to be a Dutch auction for all the tiers.
Okay. So, but it sounds like, because there's tiers, it sounds
that's
like
true. And there's 3 tiers, and the first tier is going to start at 3 ETH, and the second tier will be cheaper, and the third tier will be cheaper.
Okay.
And there will be windows where it decreases in price. But but still, the additional utility that's going to come with that, like, and there's a lot to it. Like, it's much more like a GaryVee, and it's actually a lot different. Where there's pieces about it where it's like you're buying this if you want to learn, like. There's an education and edification piece to this as well, where it's you may want certain types of tokens based on your experience, your expertise, whether it's IT. There's going to be a lot of education that comes with it. There's going to be a lot of stuff that's coming out of this. So, like the only caution that I have is that the price point and the experience level are kind of off. And that's my only red flag. And that's it. Like, I'm going to bet on Tom Bilyeu, and I'm not going to make the mistake I made last time. But when you think about like the people that can afford 3 ETH and the people that can't, it's 2 different things. And so some of the utility that comes with that would be one of those things that you're onboarding people with, and you'd expect a lower price point on some of that, just being objective. But I know, Tom and Impact Theory have done a lot of research on all of this stuff, so I know they're going to get it right. Like for instance, like the founders token includes 1 year of IT university. Like that for me seems like an onboarding type of thing. Whitelisted on NFT drops, monthly 30-minute call, quarterly dinners, exclusive Discord channels, some of the POAP, those types of things.
Let me just flag you there. I think you kind of breezed over one that I think is super important. It's the whitelisting for drops. Because it's Tom Bilyeu, that's going to be a really, really big deal. So, I mean, that alone is probably worth. You said that's the top tier. That's the 3 token.
Yeah, the legend. Well, the top tier to start. But I mean, like, here's the thing: is like, we're working with some awesome artists, and Tom has access to, and who knows what those NFT drops include. So I agree with you, and I didn't mean to brush over it. He's already announced Neon Future. I think it's absolutely going to be worth it. And maybe I'm just hung up because when I'm looking at it, and unfortunately, every time I share my Discord, like browser closes, so I can't. But when you look at the free access, like ITU is like the smallest bucket. And just like an RPG, there's so many locked things. And he's committed that every single one of those locks isn't for him to figure out. They are already planned, and then any additional utility comes out of that. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's like 15 locked attributes that we don't know about yet. And so, I mean, for me, it's not just the whitelisted for select NFT drops. It's the legendary tier gets a monthly 30-minute call, right? So even if that's not a one-on-one call where you're one of your peers, and sometimes people can make it, sometimes they can't. Like access to that mindset, that positivity, there's a lot there. Now we're sounding like a Tom Bilyeu ad. And he didn't ask us to do this. We haven't talked about him.
Yeah, true. I mean, I think we're so caught up on how we totally screwed the GaryVee situation. And so now we're trying to like maximally consider each one of these drops. Like,
dude, this is the same conversation we had for GaryVee before we streamed, and then we didn't buy. But this time, not this time.
I told you, it's the Dutch auction. You sit there and you're looking and you're like, okay, if it just gets to 1.5, okay, it's at 1.5, okay, if it can just get to 1.3. It's like you keep talking yourself out of it because it'll just go a little cheaper. And then when it gets to the bottom, you're like, okay, but now gas is too high. It's like, I don't know. I think there's a weird psychological thing that goes on with those.
Dude, all we did was totally display that we are the buy high, sell low people for the world to see. That's all we did.
Not financial advice. I do want to. I'm actually gonna. I can share my screen when it is a browser, just not a Discord. A friend of the show, friend of us, actually. His name is Blockframe NFT, and he is a token holder of the NFT Cult token. 1 second. He actually has an exhibit, and he is showing our token within that exhibit. So thank you and sweet. Shout out. And I just saw this like a minute ago. So just want to say, Blockframe, thank you so much. That's pretty cool that you're sharing our token, and shout out to our artist who will remain anonymous for now.
Yeah, he was talking to me about that. I'm excited to see that he actually did it. That's really cool.
I had no idea.
He got approval. I mean, he didn't get approval because we already said you can use it for commercial usage with a few small limitations that pretty much won't apply in his scenario. But yeah, so he just.
That. What are the issues?
If there is something that you do, because our brand is on those tokens, if you do something heinous with it, which I don't want to give examples of, but
yeah, no, you're good.
But other than that, if you do like derivatives, like Danny and Zhao, I think, I'm not sure how to say his name. He did that Mighty Cock with it, and this block frame displaying it at that thing. That's totally cool. So he just double checked just because he wanted to make sure it was all good. But yeah. So I appreciate him asking first, but he didn't need to because we had already said it otherwise. But that's really cool.
That's awesome. All right, so we're going to New York. We're gonna throw a party in New York. We're gonna go ham in New York.
We're gonna have
New York. There's nothing you can't do.
Oh man, there's
big dreams will come true. I'm misquoting Alicia Keys right now, but
Okay.
every time I go to New York, I put on Empire State of Mind on like repeat, just so I can get out of my Texas vibe for a minute. So we're gonna be at NFT NYC. Even though we told everyone we weren't gonna buy tickets, we bought tickets. We're gonna be there, and the latest lineup is really exciting. It is Tom Bilyeu, Avery from Vayner NFT is going to be there. The producer BT is going to be speaking. They really did a good job with the later additions in terms of speakers, making it more current to the space. I think that NFT NYC to start was very, very technical. In fact, I was speaking and I turned down my spot because my IRL job kind of conflicted with that. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. We're also going to be throwing at least one party, and if you look at the description on YouTube, you can register for that. We'd love to see you out there, and we're going to have a lot of fun. What are you guys most excited for NFT NYC?
Definitely the Bored Ape party, man.
Hell yeah!
I'm super excited.
Hey, John, I have a question.
Now I don't have a Bored Ape.
How does it feel to be apeless?
Oh, ouch.
Alexander Hamilton is going through my head like apeless.
Well, Bilyeu told me he might send me his mutant, so I might still go. We'll see.
Let's fucking go.
I do know
Ape
somebody
Fest.
who has a whole ton of apes and mutants, and I'm curious, like, if he's going to lease those out. He needs to just show up to NYC, get all the wristbands that he's.
Yeah, but isn't it first come first serve? What if a whale shows up that's got? I mean, I don't know how the apes are distributed, but what if a whale shows up with like 50 apes and he claims like 50 bands?
Well, then he and 50 friends get to go.
Yeah,
and that's how you diversify the type of people that are coming. There's an interesting thing that happened real quick, and like this is. I heard it on a Spaces, and I forgot who said it, and I apologize. And if someone in the chat can clarify, it's really interesting. Is that you look at Kongs, which is like becoming like the literally like the BlackRock of the NFT space. Like it's people with a shitload of ETH that can control markets. Like, and the Kongs are going for like 100+ ETH, like these types of things, like the toads. Like the apes are highly visible, but there's a hypothesis that the original ape owners are actually like ETH poor. And like the mutant apes, which are being treated like second-class citizens right now, are actually ETH rich. And so there's this fight right now.
Okay.
Ape owners, because if you're ETH rich, like you're not going to spend 40 on it. You get the same benefits as a mutant, but you had to spend 2.5 ETH, unless you had an ape, which you got to mint one mutant. You actually got access as a mutant with 2.5 ETH. And so people that could afford 2.5 ETH to actually buy it are more likely to be Ethereum rich. And so like there's this whole dynamic going on right now. And then there's the punks, which everyone knows are worth a lot of money. And then there's these the cryptodes, and then the Kongs and these types of things. And we see these communities that we never talk about that are worth like, not cryptodes, there were 6, but like 100+ ETH small communities that are moving markets. And it's just incredibly interesting to see how quickly all of this stuff is moving. But to not digress too much, I'm incredibly excited for Ape Fest. I'm excited for I'm going in October or November 1st. Unfortunately, the yacht party sounds awesome, but if I have the choice of going on a boat with a bunch of apes or taking my kids trick-or-treating, I'm going to pick trick-or-treating 100% of the time. And I think we all agree on that. So the Nifty Culture team is coming out in full force November 1st. Everyone who wants to meet us, we'll all be there. We'll be having a private suite. We'll have interviews. If you want to pitch us your ideas, we're all going to be there. But You know, are you going to make the big warehouse party, Mike? Are you excited about the merch? What are you most excited about for NFT NYC?
Definitely the warehouse party. But yeah, merch is going to be cool. But also, really, it's just meeting. I mean, the party is like kind of the thing that I will say like out loud and stuff. But deep inside, what I just am excited about is meeting all these people who I haven't met in person. So there's got to be at least 50 or 100 people in the Nifty world that I've, talked to and made friends with, and I know a lot of people are going to be there. So it'll be cool to see people in person. So that's probably the real thing that I'm looking forward to. I think the Bored Ape party will be icing on the cake, but I think it's not very often where we're going to get a chance to get all of these people in this community together. And there's so many relationships where people have never even met, which is fine and awesome that happens. But it's just different having met somebody in person.
Who are you, John? What are you most excited about?
Well, our event, if we can get everything together, that's what I'm most excited for.
Well, I love the enthusiasm.
Yeah. Well,
that's super.
It's a big moving target. There's a lot of dynamics in there. It's not easy to plan something this big, then just come together. So it's a lot of work that goes into it. So, but if it comes out good, then for me, that's going to be sweet for,
brother, how many years of partying did I do in the old days?
Well, that's true. You do have a lot of experience planning, but the party's a little bit different than those. the parties.
Bunch of apes act like a bunch of,
Well, it's gonna be funny when we show up to these Bored Ape parties and it's like it's not even really parties because it's a bunch of internet nerds, but I'm an internet nerd too. So
whoa, just the devs.
You never know. You never know, man.
I'm excited to meet some devs. I hope I meet some devs. That'll be great.
I hope so too. I think that'd be fantastic. I hope that this is the start of our city, and I hope that there are interesting people that we get to meet and get to have some fun.
So what do y'all think, just guesstimates on the turnout for apes? How many apes you think are going to show up for this yacht party?
100%.
100%?
There will be 1,000
bold
apes.
Claim.
Oh, how many unique owners do we have, though?
Well,
like 4,000?
It's not just apes. It's apes and mutants. And
So you think there'll be more mutants than apes?
Well, there's, twice as many mutants as apes? Like the total supply is like 34,000, right?
Yeah.
If you include mutants, like then the number jumps dramatically when you think about how, like, when I grew up in a small town in another state, like the entire town, like think about it this way, like you could fill a decent sized stadium and a half with the amount of, and granted the supply, like there are big holders, but like if I'm a big holder of tokens, I go get a bunch of wristbands and I invite all my friends. I invite everyone I can. Like this is going to be a big event. It's going to be a big party. And when you think about like how many people went to the gutter cat party, like they turn out, right? If you have something that's worth $100,000 or more, like why wouldn't you fly? Like this is your biggest.
Well, depends. What if you bought it for a quarter of an ETH? That's all you got. There you go.
Oh, gee.
You could have too.
I know. But that is an interesting point, though. So 34,000 potential owners, but there's definitely not that many owners. I mean, there's probably 6,000 unique wallets. 6,000 unique wallets. Maybe 8,000.
Yeah, I'll pull it up.
8,000 wallets, and then there's like 50 people that own like 7,000 of those wallets.
Oh,
maybe I doubt.
Well, the diversification of the apes was pretty wide beforehand, and like
it is
at that point you wouldn't have done it that much. Hold on, I'll pull it up. It's fine.
And there's only 1,800 spots on the warehouse party, so that'll be kind of interesting. Mm-hmm. And if you assume a lot of people are going to do the thing where they're bringing their wife or something, and so they use their mutant to get a wristband for their wife and then use their regular to get their own wristband.
Yeah, it's 5.5, so over 50%, 55% unique ownership. So if you assume that, you know, the mutant is slightly higher than that, I mean, yeah, like if you own 2 or 3 apes, you're probably going to go, and you're probably going to use one on your girlfriend or friend or best friend, or it's 100% capacity all weekend. Like or all week. I promise it. Like it's not going to miss. And it's like New York's the NFT capital of the world. Everyone I talk to that is important, like the whales behind the scenes, they're all either in LA, DFW, or New York City. It's weird. It's good distribution.
True. Now I'm a little worried that I'm not going to be able to get in because I'm just a lowly floor ape holder.
Yeah, but it's first come, first serve. You're golden. I don't even know what first come, first serves means. I mean, you got to.
Well, if you don't get in, Mike, you can come to the NFT Culture party.
That's true. We'll have to have a ape warehouse rejection party.
This is the most low energy, like happy week. We had a great week. We released the new Forge. We released the new character, and like we're all just, what happened? Is it just fall?
Yes.
Do you have seasonal affective?
Maybe. No, I'm super happy to get that off my plate. I'm happy that you pushed me to get it out early. Now I have true week, like a week or two of rest before I start working on our November, or like probably whatever we do right before Nifty NYC. So for any Nifty Cult people on the call, from now on, it's basically going to be monthly releases of whatever content dropped or whatever thing we come up with. And we already have some plans for probably November and December. So
we have some plans for November and December.
Yes.
Some good surprises.
Yeah, for sure. So it's a little bit more sustainable pace for us to do monthly stuff versus every 2 weeks. So it'll be a little bit slower, but definitely
we should do weekly.
Want to miss. Weekly, that would be so crazy.
Be awesome.
There's no way my wife would put up with me if I was doing weekly drops. It's so much. Even small stuff is a lot of work. Can
I spoil some stuff?
You can spoil a tiny bit.
All right. Well, I'm going to spoil a bunch. All right. So we have the new drop. If you have 3 characters, so if you have a silver Empress, Emperor, Joker, you can get the 4th character, which is Art. Same with gold and 2-tone. And then you can also do 2-tone with those characters. The game theory behind all of this is super confusing. But what else is going to be interesting is that we are going to do another artist drop in the very near future, and then 1 or 2 after that. We are going to have an event in Las Vegas next March. I wanted to make sure I waited so I could hear that sound for you. And it's going to be awesome. So we are going to have Nifty Culture Con in Vegas next March. Buckle up. It's going to be fun. And then in addition to that, we do have a new surprise drop that we are working on. No promises, but we are planning a November release to it. It will be free for all Nifty Culture token holders. I can commit that our next drop that will be free will come out before the end of the year. It may not be November, but if it misses November, we'll have something before December. Additionally, I don't know what I'm talking about on top of that. What else can I spoil?
Nothing that you said is too
aggressive,
alarming to me
yet. We do have some new options. So we built a complex contract, and we want to encourage the community. If you are an artist and you are a fan of the show and you want to, or the community, and you want to have your imprint on Nifty Culture token, the first token, we're not the next one or the one after that. We do have some hidden mechanisms within the contract. And if you want to contribute and add, whether it's create a new character, create a new interpretation, create a new color scheme, anything that's creative, we may create a vehicle for you to do that. So propose your ideas in the Discord, and we will consider them as a group, and hopefully the cream rises to the top. We want to promote new artists, and we want to give artists new vehicles to make a name for themselves. What else? You guys we need Pio. He's like, wah, 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 wah.
I know.
Let's talk about the alpha you've been dropping in our Discord, man.
Bro, there's no alpha. Not financial advice.
Oh man, Mally's the alpha lord, man, in the Discord. Y'all got to come through. If you got a token, make sure to come through and listen to Mally.
If you have a token, get it, because Grills was free. It's 3 ETH. The Anonymized was free. It's 3 ETH. I find them early and I share them with our community. So that's not financial advice.
Yeah.
Making gains. But you know the best gain that I ever made, and I'm going to tell you right now, it was the weekend of the Beeple drop, late April. We're all talking about people. We're all happy for Mike because he had politics is bullshit #1 of 100. And Rob had a couple Beeples. Cody had a couple Beeples. And we meet this guy, Pio. We should add him to the team. He's a great guy, great energy. And then I'm telling you guys, these apes, they're 0.09. Everyone buy an ape.
Yeah.
And Rob's telling me I'm an idiot. You're telling me I'm an idiot. 0.09, that's a lot of money. ETH was like $1,000 or something back then. Probably near its peak. Doesn't matter. I buy 4 apes. Y'all tell me I'm an idiot. That's the best alpha I've ever dropped. Y'all missed out.
Yeah, that was good.
John's
a little late.
John's got his flywheels and his leverage and the ape. The NFTs are where it's at.
Mm-hmm.
The apes. NFTs.
Mal,
Before it
so
gets
can
ruined.
I don't want to derail the conversation, but can we talk about the time drop? I haven't seen us really get into that at all. What were y'all's thoughts on this? What I thought was kind of a historic moment in the space. Mike, Mal, did y'all tuned into that? Or
I did.
I did some after the fact research. I feel like it lived up to my pre-drop expectation, which was there's going to be it's a bit of a lottery ticket drop, which I don't love. I'm not a big fan of lottery tickets because they just you're not the master of your own fate. You end up getting some people end up getting something that's worth a lot less than they paid, and then some people end up with something worth a huge amount, and it's completely random. It's a lot like gambling to me. I'm just not a big gambling person. I like stuff where it's more. That's why Nifty Cult is so like. There's very little like tiers of it, and we do want to try to work in a little bit of tiering because there's just some like gamification aspects to tiering that I think are good. But it's never going to be like so lopsided where some piece is worth 1,000,000 times more than another piece.
so like, go ahead, Mike.
No, that's kind of my thing. So time ended up kind of meeting my expectation there. But what did you end up thinking after the drop?
I don't know, man. You and I had that long conversation about. I thought it was pretty historic. For me, it was kind of the first, I think, like traditional group to get into NFTs and like, I mean, it's time, right? This is what they do. They kind of memorialize important points in history. And this is the NFT craze, and we have toads going for 100 ETH that are like, it's crazy. So, Mal, what'd you think, man? Come on. You didn't agree.
I think we know what he thinks.
He doesn't agree. He disagrees. He flats you're not going to make it.
Hey, John. John, tell me this though. The Aku piece that you really wanted, how much is that going for on OpenSea?
Well, the one that I wanted, I think, is 10 ETH was the floor. Last time I checked. Now it's probably. I don't know if that one's still around, but it was 10 ETH now. So it might have. It was a 10 ETH, and the next one up was 20 ETH. So I don't know if the 10 ETH got bought, but so.
Yeah, so like some people ended up like, so right after the drop when they were unrevealed, the floor was up to like 3.5 or 4.
Yep.
So some of those people who decided to hold through reveal cost themselves 3 or 4 ETH because the cheap pieces are down to 0.7, something like that.
That's the thing. You sell, what is it? Sell the buy the hype, sell the news.
Buy the rumor, sell the news.
Yeah, but the
And
mint was still 0.1 ETH. I mean, so was it 0.1? I don't remember now.
this is not financial advice.
Yeah.
True.
I don't know.
But imagine the guy.
The arbitrage opportunity in pre-reveal is a consistent path to make money, not financial advice, because it could change no matter what. And I find myself like making mistakes where like I buy it for the sole purpose. My tactic has always been buy at 0.08, sell at 0.16. And that's how I've accumulated most of my ETH playing this NFT game that Danny describes. And now I'm falling in love. Now I like a project and I hold it and I get stuck with it. So if you buy something and if your one goal, not financial advice, is to make money, don't fall in love. Like, and don't bet on old institutions. This is the other thing. Like, if we're going to talk about DC screwing up and Marvel screwing up, why should we think that like time is any better, right? Like,
oh, come on. But no, man, I got to completely disagree. I know your Flash is not going to make it because it's time, but
no, it's not because it's time. It's because it's like it's a 100-year-old institution, right? Like things don't go on forever.
Dude, you got to have some tradition. Like, you need some sort of legacy. Like, I'm not, you know me, I'm like super forward thinking in this space, but it doesn't always have to be bad because it's an existing institution. Like, Disney's still going to fucking kick ass because they got badass IP. Like, the next Disney is not going to be the next Disney. It's going to be something else. Like, Disney's always going to be fucking awesome. I mean, there's no way around it. I mean, Marvel is badass. Like, you raise your kids and that content is amazing no matter how old you are. Doesn't mean that you can't have more content around. It just means it's not always going to be the next.
I mostly agree with you.
They've got a history of doing this stuff. They've got a history of documenting.
Here's the thing. Okay, let's say you were able to get a couple pieces at 0.1 in the drop.
Right.
Then you're, holy smokes, that was a great move that you did. Whatever you did to be able to get those pieces for 0.1, now you're sitting on them at 3.5 floor unrevealed. You would have to be insane to hold that, because it's a 1 in 40 chance for 10 ETH, which if you do the math on that, that's like a value of 0.25 ETH or something.
Oh, yeah, I mean, you have something. There were other awesomes in there. Fuckrender was in there. Ferocious was in there, I think.
I think you hedge, right? Like, it's like, that's the thing, is like rule number one, never fall in love, right? And I think like there's anomalies, right? It's funny because like Lush Sucks was like making fun of Christie's and Sotheby's, and now like, they've embraced NFTs and now they're everyone's best friend. And now we hedge left and right. And all of my, like, I'm trying to find a piece of art from either Ferocious, Mad Dog Jones, or not X. I already have an X copy, but like a couple other Slime Sunday to buy. And like, they're all in Sotheby's and Christie's at this point. So it's funny how pieces of old media are contradictory and how like the social commentary of that exists. But then it's also like, how do we as a society, and maybe I'm getting political and that's always dangerous, but we try to hold like the mistakes we made in the past accountable. And then we create this new media, right? And we're seeing mass media, we're seeing the news and everything, like Substack, Medium, NFTs, blockchain, like all these sub-communities that are becoming important to people coming to prominence. And then Time wants to do it, and all of a sudden, hey, let's go buy this Time. And people are shocked that they lost money on it. And so the point, I guess, the long-winded description I'm going to give to this is that like, just be careful. Like, don't bet on an old institution just because it's an old institution. Like, the new realm of media, the new realm of NFTs doesn't guarantee profit. And if you're buying for profit, which people clearly, like, if I bought for X and I sold for a loss, meant that I was speculating. Like, I may be wrong, but if I'm going to flip it within a month, like, and I bought it for this and I sold it for a loss, it meant that I was either flexing or extending to try and think that it's going to go further up, and I missed, so I have to take it for a loss, or I don't believe in the institution long term. So, and go on.
I was going to ask Mal, this Time drop, I can't think of a time when you had Ferocious, Fuckrender, you had Micah, like like, has there been a collab drop like this before? Like,
there was a simultaneous auction on Christie's or Sotheby's where 25 of the blue chips and other artists were releasing NFTs simultaneously.
Okay.
There's been a few, yeah. There was that. That was Sotheby's, wasn't it? Their first one.
Yeah, it's not the first instant. It's time. Like, this is the other thing is, as artists, like, should they be aligning to the? And I'm not gonna hold. I love all of them, and I would support any of them no matter what. And if an artist can make money, I'm going to support the artist. And if time is a vehicle to make the money, great. But the problem is, like, everyone thinks they're going to win, and like, time is an endorsement vehicle, and clearly the market is showing that agnostic to just because it's time doesn't mean it's valuable. Like, we're in a new era, and I think that's awesome. Like, the result sucks for bag holders, but the result is awesome for accountability of the blockchain and where we hold our institutions. Like, zero trust should be a method for everything. We should hold everyone accountable, from Nifty Culture to time to everyone else.
So there was the drop previously on Sotheby's. That was like was that considered one collection, or was it basically just, you know, artists?
It was individual art. It was individual auctions.
It was one collection of NFT artists, right? Because before that, they had done Beeple, they'd done a few one-offs, but they said, and actually they crowdsourced it and said, like, there's a 25th spot that will be added late, and it was X Copy, it was Mad Dog Jones, it was Fuck Render, it was a lot of artists. Granted, you knew what you were bidding on, like, you knew which one you were getting, so there was a bit of anonymous here, but like, this group plays together. And like, if you go to hpluscreative.com, like, not to poo-poo on anything, but like, just in full transparency, like, and we only have a couple minutes left, but like, if you go to hpluscreative.com and you look at the talent, right, these are all names that we love and adore, right? Blake Catherine, love her. You know, F Render, love him. Jason, love him. You know, like, there's so many names here that are fantastic. Victor, like, these are all names. Render Fruit, like Tarka. There's MBSJQ. Like, there's so many names here. And if you think about other creative, and this existed before they all made their money on Nifty Gateway. So when you look at this, it's just go in it with your eyes open, because like, these are all friends, and that's good. Like, it's good that this group of artists, this class of artists, are able to make money together. But don't think that like, time is doing something revolutionary just because they combine these artists in a random drop. My take. I could be completely wrong, and if I'm wrong, let us know in the comments. Downvote.
Yeah,
I think it's totally true that
right now.
The blue chips in the collection are doing exactly what you would expect blue chips to do.
It's like the Ninja Turtles, right? Donatello, Michelangelo, Leonardo, Raphael. They're all hanging out, fighting Shredder.
Well, I thought it was cool. I thought the way Time handled the gas war was badass, about folks that timed out. They got a free mint pass for a future drop they do. Although, you know, their future drop's probably not going to be worth, you know, what this drop was, but it was still, I like the way they handled it. I thought it was professional. So
that's awesome. And that, what I love about us is that we can all disagree. And now I'm just talking a lot today because I'm fired up for NFT NYC.
The gas on when you timed out shouldn't have been that bad. So they refunded. They're going to refund all that.
No, what they did was they already sent everybody that tried to mint but was unsuccessful. They already sent them a NFT that represents a future mint pass for a drop they do.
Okay.
So, which was awesome. I haven't seen any other project do that. I thought it was well thought out.
That's cool.
Obviously, I would
Bonsai's did that
on layer 2, but
Bonsai's did that. I chose not to do that, but we didn't have very many. We didn't have the volume that the others to do. I only chose to refund gas for when it was our mistake. But people who mint after the contract is closed, that's basically what you're doing in that scenario. Is you're submitting mint transactions after the contract is already turned off.
And that's only possible if you're minting from contract, right?
No.
Oh.
It'll do it on the website. I mean, the website will, once the website gets updated that it's off, it'll stop letting you. So it'll let them through, but they'll still
They'll fail even after if they keep pushing. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that
Now,
makes sense.
It's not normal for people to refund that. So that is different.
Yeah. Mal, so to close out, anything for us to watch out for coming up this week? Anything you got your eye on in particular for drops? I was kind of out this last week, so I don't really know what's dropping this up.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. Maybe we do another like in between video. We missed 2 weeks of the happy hour just because our drop and everything else.
You want to put your finger on and just kind of call out now as something to watch?
No, I mean, like my PSA right now, and I know we got to end let's do a Tech Tuesday because there's like 5 games I want to talk about this upcoming week. Crypto Raiders actually we need
to see that Crypto Raider game.
Yeah, Crypto Raiders, you can fight now. You can fight Hogger. There's like 4 other games I want to talk about that. Like a few of them. I want to talk about Moonray. So 2 PSAs. Number 1, if you buy 2 tokens and you forge them, you get access to Snapshot pre-mint pass for Moonray BTC, which is a AAA game that's coming built on Unreal. Everyone go check that out. In our Discord, you can see it for free. It's not behind the paywall. Number 2, if you're going to NFT NYC, do not bring your machine. Do not bring your computer. Do not bring anything connected to any wallets. If you have a wallet, put 1 ETH in it if you want to gamble and everything else. If you think about DEF CON and Black Hat and RSA, and I come from the telecom/managed security space, like it's designed to be hacked. If you're having Ape Fest in NYC and the minimum value of an ape is 40 ETH, and you have a mutant that's worth 5 ETH, you are a vector, you are a target. If you're going into this town, and if you're going to wear ape merch and everything else, and you're going to walk down New York City streets, and you're going to tell people that you own something.
I'm going to be ape head to toe, bro.
5 Rolexes. Do not bring access to your Ethereum. Do not bring access to your wallet. PSA, do not do it. Leave your money at home. Leave your wallets. Do not bring your Tezers. Do not do it. Leave it all at home. Be safe.
But don't post your home address online so that people know where you're.
It's a good thing my name is actually James.
Nice. Now, I mean, I am a little bit confused. I agree with your advice 100%. If you lose your laptop at Ape Fest, you can guarantee someone's going to get into that bad boy and try to get at your wallet. But how are we going to get the wristband, which will most likely require signing?
They'll have to have it signed. Here's how you do it: you sign up ahead of time, and you have some proof of ID there, and then you can go to the merch and do it. There'll have to be a 2-week window where you can sign up, and they can confirm it. So it's wallet address, username, and then proof of user. I would have it that far removed. Because you're an idiot if it's a single point of failure for the generational wealth to be extracted from a lot of people. And if I'm nefarious and we know how, think about how many DMs you get away a day on Discord trying to steal you from your wealth, and think about 2,000 attendees confirmed, probably 5,000 total that live in the city that are going to be there. There's a lot of people that are smarter than you that are going to try and take your ETH. And they're not coming just for the ape. Yeah. They're coming for everything else. So the best thing, and if you're drunk, you make mistakes. There's going to be a lot of partying. Just make sure you don't have 12 words. Don't have anything. Keep it at home.
What about my tattoo of my private key right there?
Your barbed wire?
Is that a bad idea?
Yeah. Cut your finger off.
Okay.
All those smart people that put their code on their finger, they're going to be 4 fingers. Donnie 4 fingers, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be really, really interesting to see. That's my one PSA for all of this.
That's a good point. Yeah.
All right.
One last thing. Somebody earlier on the stream asked when the Nifty Culture get together would be. And we'll definitely make that public in the Discord. So just get in the Discord. We're still working on the exact details.
Monday.
It'll be on November 1st, which is a Monday. But exact details TBD.
Any parting thoughts? John, it's good to have you back.
Man, it's good to be back. I'll be in the Discord hanging out looking for that alpha, Mally. Keep dropping it.
Not financial advice. All right, everybody. It's been fun. P.O.'s at a wedding. He'll be back next week. Rob is having a medical procedure.
He's at the doctor.
We hope and wish him the best. He's getting an extension to his third leg. We'll see how that goes. We'll see y'all soon.
We'll see y'all later.
Bye.